damn.
He said, if you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. If you would have known me at age 25, you would have said, Jim Rohn's a hard worker. If you'd have known me, you'd have said that. I'm the guy, I don't mind coming a little bit early, staying a little bit late, I don't mind that. You'd have said, well, Jim Rohn's a hard worker. You say, well, how come he's got pennies in his pocket and nothing in the bank and behind on his promises? Well, I was a hard worker, but I was working hard on my job, not on myself. I'm telling you, if you'll learn that simple little principle and start the process today, latest tomorrow, give you tonight to think it over. And start this whole process of personal development, work on yourself, make yourself more valuable to the marketplace. I'm telling you, you can so dynamically change your income, and economics is the least of the values that you can start earning in terms of equity. If you'll start working harder on yourself than you do on your job. He said, if you work hard on your job.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what we doing.
Let's dive into it,
what time it is.
Let's go.
You know what time it is. Let's go. You know what it is. We sound low.
We back.
Now who they got up on the pod? Gotta watch and see. Pull up a little drink and put us on the TV.
We live.
We back.
I had to fix the headphones. I'm good. You know the vibes.
Pod
Yes, sir.
day.
Drake, you like the theme song?
That's a vibe.
Let me run it back because I couldn't hear it in my headphones. Here we go. So I made this. This is original.
DJ STERL.
Talk to me. Done it again.
DJ STERL.
What we talking about?
I thought that was Sugar Hill Gang or something, bro. I said, who is this?
Sugar Hill Gang. You know the fucking vibes, man.
704 exclusive.
You did.
DJ STERL. No cap.
That's an original, bro.
That's
I appreciate you fucking
That's
with it.
good, bro.
You already know what it is, man. Let's get it started, bro. Let's get it.
Absolutely. What's happening, man? Welcome back to the Epicenter podcast. That's DAEPICENTRE. The RE is the British way, in case you didn't know.
The UK way.
You feel me? And the voice you're hearing right now is none other than the voice of Mr. Sir, Your Highness, King BRIL, and I'm here today. Yes, sir.
Man, let's do it.
I appreciate it. And I'm here today with the greatest co-host in the world,
Talk
Mr.
to
Girls, like STERL, man.
We got new sounds on the board today, man. We got new sounds.
Going crazy with it.
You already know what it is, though, man. It's girls like STERL, the best in the world, man. We in the building, man. We in the building.
Dumped the whole clip on the intro.
You feel me?
We have two very special guests today, man. We have a very special episode, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we both got on glasses today. Because we got to talk business.
We talking business today.
Business with a B-I-D. You know what I'm saying?
I told we was going to dress up and we was going to have the whole look, but
yeah,
we decided to chill.
Can't do it, man. So today we're going to have a little, what we say, a corporate episode. You know what I'm saying? We're about our business today. We're going to talk about a lot of important things. We got two very important people today to come and help us on this discussion. You know what I mean? Right. We have to my left. I'll let you introduce yourself. I don't want to do you any disservice.
Okay. I'm Chloe.
Straight up.
Chloe from corporate.
Chloe from corporate.
Corporate. Chloe.
Hold on, announcement. No jobs will be disclosed in this episode.
These people work at Lowe's Food.
Yeah. All you people, all you corporate folks, you can't come for us. We're not saying no names.
Absolutely.
We have corporate business people. We're going to let them. Oh, what's your job title?
I'm an accountant.
Straight up.
For Lowe's Food. To my right, we have Mr.
Draper Brown. Nice to be here. Born and raised in the 704.
Come on, man. We had to have, he's a fan of the show, a friend of the show.
Big fan of the show.
We was at the gym and I was like, bruh, we need you on the episode, dog. We need you on the episode because we had a bunch of like schedule fallouts and in-betweens, and we had Chloe messed up at what time to come today. So he was like, Drake, you just called in the reserve. Drake was here, but you know what I'm saying? Appreciate you coming, bro.
You always pull up for your friends, man.
Yeah, man, straight up. You heard it, man.
And job title is a management consultant.
For Lowe's Food.
For Lowe's Food.
Don't give Lowe's Food no free ads, man.
No free press.
In real life, though, they do work super corporate jobs at big businesses that are really running the nation. So we're going to leave the names out like we said, but We got some important people in the building. Pank in the building too. Pank is a man of
building.
corporate too.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Clap it up for Pank in the back.
Yes, sir, Pank.
Corporate Pank.
Hey,
you know what
man.
I'm saying? And I'm in corporate. I think you're the only one that's not.
Not in
today.
corporate, man.
Damn, bro, you got to give it away.
Is it the wave?
Is it the way?
Man, well, hopefully today I'm gonna need y'all to drop some gems so I can take what y'all corporate gems and put them in my business. You know what I mean?
There we go.
Because as an entrepreneur, transparently, you know, it's the allure. We've been the allure since 2020. I want to say, you know, whether it be social media and life, you just having conversations. People want to do the freedom. They want to do this, but a lot of people talk about the perks and they admire the perks, but they don't understand. When you're really an entrepreneur full time, there's a lot of shit you have to figure out on your own
by yourself.
And when you're figuring it out, you figure it out, and you develop a lot of things, a lot of nooks and crannies in your business. You don't know sometimes what you're having success because of versus what you're having success in spite of.
Right,
You know what I mean? So when I talk with people who are actually in big business, prestigious people like we have on today, you get to really fill in the blanks and see, okay, how have they been doing it? Because a lot of things that you guys know come from a tradition of very successful companies.
And people have been doing for years.
Exactly. And we as entrepreneurs, when we get that game, we immediately know how to implement it. And it's, you know, super helpful for our business, man. So let's get into it, man.
Here we go.
So as a corporate person, you know, when I think of corporate, the inception of that mind state, for me, how I see it starts in university. Would I be accurate in that? You know, the degrees play a lot, I would imagine, in a lot of those fields. So I want you guys' opinion. Yours too, sir, everybody's.
Yeah.
Are degrees worthless or are they worthwhile?
I mean, I definitely think degrees are still worthwhile, right? Like, degree aside, college experience is worthwhile, right? We can talk about the actual degree. And degree will get you a foot in the door. Right? It'll get you introduced to people. It'll get you certain experiences. It'll get you a network of people from your school. It'll get you connected to people from other schools. It gives you some sort of like certification, right? We all talk about tech certs and, you know, cybersecurity and things of that nature.
Right.
A lot of people don't want to go into that. Somebody might want to go into marketing. Somebody might want to go into HR. Somebody might want to go into engineering. A lot of times they're looking at, if we're going to let you into this company, we need a degree. And a lot of times from a reputable
University.
institution, a reputable university. So I mean, I definitely feel like if you want to get into corporate, a degree is still worthwhile. I think a lot of times companies won't even look at you if you don't have a degree.
Facts.
Yeah, facts. I was talking to Stir. I'm sorry, Chloe.
No, you're good.
Me and Stir were joking. We was like, yo, we got to have Drake on. Drake did everything right.
Everything.
The right school, the right major.
Background before we get into it, and I'm gonna let you get to it. But me and Drake known each other since we were probably like 6, 7 from church. Our parents were both deacons in the church. We went to middle school together, separated in our high school, but then like he came out Omega at Chapel Hill. I did the year after at State, but we always kept in contact. We've been like, I'm pretty sure I'm being his wedding, he'll be in mine type of relationship. We known each other for a long time. But I feel like Brad Draper did everything, like the right school, then got the house, you know what I'm saying, and well traveled. We're gonna talk about it and get into it. But like corporate was one of those things too. Like the job been straight. Draper been had a job in corporate and been, you know what I'm saying, doing his thing and moving up in his company. So that's your take on the degrees and whatnot. Yeah. So, Chloe, you think degrees are still worth it? They worthwhile or not? You know what I'm saying? What's your thoughts on that?
Going along with what he said, they're definitely worth it, but the degree itself, I feel like it's really just a piece of paper. It's everything that comes with it. Because, like, in college, I would say I probably learned 10% of what I'm doing now. A job itself teaches you everything you need to know, but the sad part about it is you need that piece of paper to get your foot in that door. Right. And I would say it's more like networking and the people you meet and the college you go to. It definitely like certain colleges are better at certain things. So like people look for that. So I still feel like the degree helps to a point because it's getting your foot in the door. But I wouldn't say it helps to the point of you're going to know exactly what you're doing in your job, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Okay, good.
I think that about a lot of jobs now. Like most of the times you can just go in, they'll teach you what you need to. Now I saw some post online that was like, I think it was like Justin the Boy, who was like, I was applying for jobs and I'm a preacher. I got church on Sunday. And like, it was a joke though, but it's like, you'll figure it out. Like you can get the job. People just be applying, you know, and even in our world, like as the corporate background that we have, we can apply for any job, get it based off our qualifications and then learn what you need once you actually in the job. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I feel like they look at that degree as like, you can take a certain period of your life, dedicate yourself to something, achieve something, work hard and finish. Like right. You make a really good point. Like you might work in Bank of America at a, in a finance job, but you were a psych major undergrad.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
They just want to see that, hey, can you dedicate? Can you work hard? Can you focus for a certain amount of time? So like, that degree part is definitely like, I know a lot of people that do absolutely nothing that they learned in undergrad, but a lot of times companies just want to be like, hey, can you work hard?
Right.
Can you actually dedicate? Are you somebody that we can depend on? And a lot of times people look at a degree as that substandard.
That's facts.
Yeah, absolutely. I want you guys to speak about because that's probably the positive portion of the degree experience. You know what I mean? When you have the right major, you make the right decisions. Everything's more so aligned.
Right.
But speak a little bit too, because I actually graduated with the exercise science degree. For somebody that doesn't know about kinesiology or exercise science, it's a mixture of people who want to be personal trainers, people who want to be physical therapists, physician's assistant.
Yeah.
There's certain medical fields that you can go in with that kind of degree too. It's akin to nursing, right?
Yeah.
A standard derivative away from nursing. And there are a lot of people in my major who get weeded out every single semester because you can't make more than a couple. You make 2 Ds, it's over for you. It's over for you. Like, change your major, get out.
Yeah,
and that's through the chemistries and the biologies and all of that stuff like that. So are there any times where you see people with decent degrees and they're having trouble figuring it out into the workforce, or they're
getting their foot in corporate?
Yeah. Talk about that aspect if you have any experience seeing people like that, because we know it's not the case with you guys, but
y'all good.
So there might be a recession coming. Like, we gonna see.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood, right? Let me do that. Yeah, I feel like a lot of times people will get a degree and they realize, I don't want to do this, right? Like somebody might get a degree in psychology and realize, I don't want to be a psychiatrist. I don't actually want anything to do with the medical field, but I made a decision at 18 and 19 to pick this major thinking maybe I wanted to do this at 23, 24, 25. And now I'm here and I realize I want to work in tech, or I realize I want to be an entrepreneur, or I realize that I want to, become a teacher or whatever it may be. And sometimes people will struggle because a lot of times we talk about your degree doesn't really mean, too much in terms of like what it is you actually studied. But sometimes if you want to get into finance and they see you got an undergraduate degree in, I don't know, social work, they're like, we don't really know if you have the skill set or the interest.
Yeah.
Just
so
based
sometimes,
off that.
Sometimes based off that, you got to do a little extra. You might have to go get a cert. You might have to network your way in. You might have to start a little lower than what you would have wanted to come in at. So like, I feel like a lot of times when people struggle, it's because like, they're switching up the entire plan, or sometimes they're interested in something where they know nobody, or the company's not interested in the school that they went to, hiring them from it. So it's usually like differing from what you started with at like 18 or 19 a lot of times, which is okay to do. Everyone does. I'm not doing what I thought I was going to be doing at 18 or 19.
That was going to be one of my questions, I was going to say, what are y'all doing what y'all thought y'all were going to do? Because let's talk about college first and getting into it. Chapel Hill, Penn State. Very prestigious colleges on both ends.
Yeah.
Did y'all go into college knowing what y'all wanted to do 5-6 years prior to that?
I did. I chose it. I did. I chose accounting right away, but now seeing the work I have to do, it's like college didn't really prepare me for that. So now it's questioning, like, do I want to keep doing this, or do I want to go another business route? Like, that's what I feel like it doesn't prepare you enough for. Or like the ratio of people that probably go to college and don't do the degree they got their degree in for work their whole life, like it's huge, and that's what people don't talk about. But that's why it's like the degree's still worth it, because at least you have one and can go other avenues with it. Yeah,
it's a part of the resume, not the resume. How you guys feel about I'm sorry, this is a better question. What percentage of hires do you think are kind of made off of or skewed by the actual college that you went to? How important is that?
Because I'm pretty sure that wasn't a problem with y'all school. When you tell a Chapel Hill, you say Penn State, they're like, oh, okay.
No, I get the question. I think that a lot of times when it comes to whatever career you want to get into, the college you went to matters more than what your degree was in.
Wow.
And I would say this because I knew people that would go to, our rival Duke University, that would major in like women's studies or anthropology or various things, and would go work on Wall Street afterwards.
Wow.
Would go into private equity, would go into investment banking, would go into management consulting. And I'm like, at Chapel Hill, I can't manage in anthropology. Step onto Wall Street. So I think that a lot of times, like, they look at the fact that and I feel like this kind of plays in what we're talking about. They just want to see, how hard was it for you to get that degree? How much did you dedicate? Did you get that piece of paper? And if you got it from an extremely prestigious university, a lot of times we don't care what you studied. We know you worked your ass off to get it. We know it took a lot for you to get into this school. Come work for us. We'll teach you everything.
It's a lot of connections, I would assume, from those schools. Those people that are working in those businesses on Wall Street, they went to Duke as well. So you got that foot in the door from like just knowing somebody that went there. That's a big. I'm pretty sure you meet a lot of people like Chapel Hill. Oh, when Chapel Hill, you good?
Like,
you know.
It's definitely it's like a family, right?
It's like a family, right?
Yeah, definitely so.
A fraternity all its own, man.
College, Ivy League. Ivy League is both Ivy Leagues.
Nah, we're technically a public Ivy, which is there's like
Ivy
5
League?
public
No.
Ivies.
Ivy League, and that I sound dumb asking that on here. Ivy League is like what Harvard and Brown or like
Cornell.
Okay.
Yeah, all those. Yep. UPenn. Yep, all those. Yeah.
So let's speed up. Let's talk about you guys' introduction into corporate. Like, let's talk first job. What were some of the
take us back?
Some of the etiquettes that you guys had to learn coming into corporate? What was something that you said, okay, I have to fix this shit, or else this is not gonna work. I gotta learn this. I don't know this. Take me on that journey.
Chloe, let's take it back to. Oh shoot, we changed the sound.
We changed the sound.
Shit, that was supposed to be my heart.
Yeah, my bad, dog.
I had a nice little rewind us back into time, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I just started in January actually, but I did an internship last year while I was doing my master's program. And I would say the biggest thing is communication, because in college you need communication, I guess, in like group project settings, but like especially when you're working virtual, it's so big on communication because you have to talk to your managers, senior managers. Everyone has different schedules. So if you don't talk with them throughout the whole thing, you're going to fall behind, and it all does fall on you because, like, you're the lowest in the totem pole. That's just how it is at first. So you almost got to be extra at communicating, and, like, they definitely prefer that than not because they want to know, like, where you're at in your projects, when it'll be done, and all that kind of stuff, so then they can kind of plan around it as well. And that's definitely an adjustment because, like, even if I'm getting stuff done, I've never thought that, like, I kind of got to let someone else know I'm getting it done so they can plan accordingly too. Or it's like if you have a deadline in like a month, you have to get your work done in a week because then you got to plan for other people to get it done behind you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, teamwork. The epitome of teamwork, I guess it would be fair way to say. That leads me to something else. Micromanagement. Does that kind of, did you feel micromanaged at a point to, okay, I have to tell you every day what I done in adjustment? How did you feel? How you feel about that word, micromanagement?
It's definitely an adjustment because I'm like, in college, you kind of have your own schedule. Like, you don't really got to communicate to people.
Yeah.
But it definitely helps just the flow of it. And I feel like that's what corporate teaches you is how many people you have to work with.
Yeah.
It's like something you never thought in
That's
like
true.
your 20-person class or a group project that you had 4 people. Now you got to communicate to 20, 30. It depends how many people.
And then those
on your
people have
team.
bosses too.
Absolutely.
Your boss has
the
like a boss he has to go to.
yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
The chain never stops. So I
really
feel like
doesn't.
it really doesn't.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's important to know the people you're closest with and like make sure they have good communication skills too, because like you're supposed to report to the person above you, but if that person doesn't keep reporting, you should almost make sure you report to both so it doesn't fall back on you. It's just like almost doing the extra steps so you're never 1 step behind and 2 steps forward, basically.
Honestly,
That was fire.
That was fire. I gotta get used to. I'm sorry, the buttons have changed. I just keep pressing, but that was a fire statement. Yeah. What was the last part you said? Not to cut you up, was
I said,
make sure 2 steps ahead so you're not a step behind.
Yeah, I said you never want to be 1 step back. You always want to be 2 steps forward.
Just communicating on the extra front. Does that bleed over into real life, like your communication style?
Yeah.
Like,
especially because like how busy I am, I just like I never want it to be like I'm neglecting people, but it's just like I'm in a really busy time, so I always still try to take that extra 5 minutes to check in with people, even if I can't see you every week. I'm still like I'm there. I'm just busy. I promise. Like we'll catch up. I'm a big communication person. Like I'm always gonna make sure you're good, even
Sending
if I can't
follow-up
see
emails
you.
to your friends.
Yeah.
Just following up, bro. Making sure we're still good for lunch.
I feel like that's such a responsible
You can
place
move
in
your
life
mic a
to
little
be.
bit closer if you want to.
That's such a responsible place in life to be. I aim to be that responsible. One of the pitfalls of me in entrepreneurship, I'm not gonna put this on entrepreneurship, is a lot of times my weekends end up being bigger work days than my work week. You know what I mean? And as far as scheduling, I have plans as far as my professional life in terms of what I hope to achieve, quarterly goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, numbers I like to see hit, KPIs like we were talking about earlier.
KPIs.
But in my personal life, I have no fucking clue what's going on.
Just rolling, just going with the flow.
Even to like schedule. I was telling STERL about this too. the difference between scheduling a haircut as opposed to getting your hair braided with women.
Jesus Christ.
I have to compete with the girls getting ankle length braids, and they know what vacation they're going on in July, in January. Versus I don't know. I'm going to Houston until 2 weeks before, so I'm calling like, hey, can you
give me a cut?
What can we do?
She booked 3 months out. You just be
like I was telling bro, like my barber, I hit him up every Friday, but I just was like, let me just be responsible. Like, bro, just put me on the schedule for every Friday, and if I hit you up, then that means I can't make it. And he was like, bro, that shows how you schedule your haircut sort of shows how responsible you are. But you brought up something about vacations. Like the girls be knowing when they're gonna go on vacation months in advance. But Draper here is very well traveled, and I think it comes from his base in corporate, like being there. The money speaks. The money speaks.
Listen,
so let's talk about vacation and in 2023 being. So this is my real question: balancing social life and corporate life. You know what I'm saying? Like planning those vacations out, because, you know, we only got a specific amount of days. Like making sure your work is done before you leave, so you're not coming back to a fire. You know what I'm saying? You got to put out like a whole thing. Like, you know, you want to come back from your vacation. So it's like, how do you, Draper, for you specifically, how are you planning strategically your vacations with work, with social life, and, you know what I'm saying, and still being, you know, ready for work, that type of thing? How are you balancing that?
Honestly, it's whooping my ass. Bro, hey. Give me idiot. Bro, to be honest, like being able, like, a lot of times when you want to take an extended amount of period, like an extended time off, the amount of work you have to put in beforehand, insane, bro. Like to prepare the people that are below you and the people that are above you for you to be off for 6 days in a row. It's like those 3 days beforehand, you got to get your hair cut, right? You got to go get a new fit. But then on top of that, you working, you putting in an extra 20-25% of time in the job to make sure everybody knows everything that you're responsible for is going to be taken care of. Like you have to hand it to them on a silver platter because everyone's so busy at work. So I would say that, like, that is taxing. But I feel like if you work for a company that encourages vacation, doesn't penalize you for taking time off, and, like, you know, has a large number of vacation days, it's definitely doable. But, like, you have to put the time and effort in. Like, you still have to save up for it. You still have to communicate with people about when you're going to be off way in advance so that they can make sure that they're ready. So, like, it's a challenge, but it's almost like kind of like a part-time job. Like, I got work, but then I got, like, I'm trying to work out. I'm trying to go, you know, see this different country. I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, see my family. Like, sometimes it can feel like a part-time job, scheduling everything
It's just
scheduling, bro. It's communication. It's scheduling. It's organization. Like, bro.
All of those things they taught us in college and school sort of does come back to, like, relive itself, but in a different atmosphere. They wanted you to, like, time manage yourself, like what class you have versus going to the caf versus, but, like, in real life, it's like, I got to send this email before this, then this has to happen. So that, you know what I'm saying, this is like a whole system of a never ending, like, you know what I'm saying?
Procrastinate, it messes you up. You wait too long to book the flight, now it's up $200. You gotta leave at 5 a.m.
Right.
Your Airbnb not open until 3. You gotta figure out what to do.
What you gonna do?
Yeah, it's a lot, bro. It's a lot.
Crazy. I admire that, man, because being your own boss, so much of your success is limited by your own skills and habits. So when you're coming into an environment where, you know, it's a huge tradition of corporate success, and sometimes you can be a number and you kind of have to prove yourself. Coming into a system, it forces you to maintain a level of, like you said, communication, organization, just the whole nine in terms of teamwork, as opposed to, there are times when I feel like I don't communicate properly, or I forget to, or I'm not as organized, or I can't tell you what next month looks like for quarters if you want to take a vacation. But that's something that I admire, that level of organization, and it allows you to have that foresight to understand what's coming, and that teamwork. It seems to flow the way you guys tell
but,
it,
like,
man.
Somebody like you, how do you do that? Because, like, do you ever feel like I can't take time off, or I feel guilty taking time off? Like, because everything is kind of on you, right? Like, it's heavy on BRIL's shoulders, the success of Rich Royals, right? You kicking things off, you've got it sustainable, but, like, at the same time, like, that shit is your baby. You know what I'm saying? How do you do that?
So for me, I work a lot, not because I have to, but because I work and play in the same place. The same thing that drives marketing dollars and leads in the top of my generation funnel is the same thing that I love doing just for fun. If I got bored, I would do the same exact thing. So I end up working a lot. And the hardest thing for me is being able to balance, like I told STERL probably weeks ago, balancing the creative and the executive. You know, that's why a lot of people who do content creation or own businesses have trouble stepping into each other's lanes, because I had
another video that was going to talk about that. I'll play it after you finish.
Being a creative person, man, there's so much artistic, getting into your own rhythm of ideas, being able to have the confidence to create and release those ideas to the world, taking risk when you can't chart or measure it quantitatively. That's a market. It opens up your marketing brain to a different level. Like a lot of big companies are having trouble even marketing on social media because it takes so much of that creative artistry to do.
You need a whole different person.
Great. You need a whole different person a lot of times for that. And then when I turn on that executive brain, well, I have to be able to manage my artistry. I have to be able to manage myself and say, okay, well, you can't just go ape shit and just make this because you feel like making it. How are we going to position this? Or how can we build a conglomerate around the art? And while I might have spent 1 week doing artistry and then the next week planning around it, like, okay, this is we're going to release it here. This is going to bring this. It's going to make sense. Product inventory. And for me, the biggest thing is you're not going to be gifted at everything, but there's going to be, there's different aspects of business that you have to learn. Like you never really realize when you start a business as an entrepreneur, HR isn't something that's not a priority. Usually making money, sales, marketing, those are the things that most entrepreneurs focus on. But to build a company, HR, the hiring, firing, sourcing of talent is the biggest. And onboarding, that's one of the biggest differences between, oh, you just run a business, you have 1 or 2 employees, and you have 5, 6, you have 20 employees. How do you source these people? How do you find qualified people? All of these things are so important, but as an entrepreneur, you have to bump your head and figure that out, as opposed to having a system where you learned what greats have done for years and years and decades, man.
How you? We get to ask her on that.
Go ahead.
Yours. How are you balancing work life, vacation, and the things you do outside of work with work?
I was going to touch on his point about like organization, almost with the communication too. Like, you really have to plan before you take a vacation. It's not like a job where everyone does the same thing you do. Like, you have your own clients, so you have to make sure you get your work done before you go on a vacation. It's not like I'm leaving next week, everyone else is going to do my work. So you almost have to work like not double, just like make sure you're working
part-time job.
Like I'm going to work longer days before I go just to make sure I don't stress to have to check my computer or check my phone. Because that's the other thing. I don't know if you have it, but like I have all my apps on my phone.
Got to.
So like work is always in your face, but you have to be able to pause it so you have that work-life balance, or you will almost like go a little crazy because you always feel like you need to be like attentive and like my bad. So I definitely have to like make sure it's like a part-time job, like you said. And that is what I think, circling back to our first point, a degree doesn't teach you. Like college, you are very busy. It might be some of the stressful times of your life, but you could go take a nap for 3 hours and then go back to your stuff and get it done, pulling all nighter. Work, no matter what you do the day before, you got to be up the next day to do it again.
Ready to face it.
So it's really about planning. I have so many calendars. If I don't write stuff down, I be forgetting everything. Like,
shout out to our
it's really
shout out Mac.
Yeah, shout out Mac, man.
Shout out Mac.
Our trusty, never dusty assistant, man. She lives in Google Docs. Sheets like that.
Like that's when we put out that announcement we were talking about earlier. She got on it, and that made the systems a lot better. Like even with this podcast, like people look at it and they don't realize that it's a business. And me and BRIL are like the CEOs, and we having a fine, but we're doing everything. We're outsourcing our talents, and we're onboarding new people that we reach out to y'all. You know what I'm saying? We have her for like our, like, once we've done that work, she can sort of like wrap it up in a nice bow and call it a day.
As the comms.
But as this begins and as it starts off, just like Walmart, any business probably started, or McDonald's started with like 2 people that had to do everything first and then teach those people. Those people teach people. Those people leave. Then you got to bring other people in. So right now, she's on the road to be a doctor. So soon we're going to have to find someone to fill in what she's doing based off the system she's put in place. But with corporate life, these jobs have been set, like our businesses have been running for years. We are literally just inserts of like, you know what I'm saying? Like if we don't have it, they'll just hire another little fresh kid from college, teach him everything to know. He'll learn it on his first day, and then it just continues to go like that.
I wish T was here for this episode, because he's probably one of my mentors and best friends for conversations in terms of business, because he's more seasoned of an entrepreneur than I am. He has more companies in the business, the whole
when you talk to a seasoned entrepreneur, it's just like talking to a corporate CEO, because eventually like this business will be corporate. You know what I'm saying? If it's not already, but his systems that he put in place will just follow to the next person he puts in the managerial position to run it.
The systems. And that's why I think a lot of people who are in corporate who might want to dive into entrepreneurship, a lot of times you don't understand how much game you're around, because those, even your job description and standard SOPs, your KPIs, that is literally how you can make that business. You can do that same thing for your own company, or you create those roles. Like just understanding what your team does. If you have a team of 6, being able to I guess understand and comprehend each person's goals day to day, their KPIs, their monthly indicators and stuff like that. You can build your own company doing that. Right. It's just so much game, bro. Business has the same skeleton, dog.
I'll play this clip before we go to break. Go ahead, Dre. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like a lot of us are scared to jump into entrepreneurship because sometimes we like the security of a job.
See, that's what we should. We're talking about. Don't heat up too quick.
Bro, there are times at work, bro, I suck. There are some times, bro. Bro, there's like a 3-day span where I'm like, I look back, I'm like, I did nothing. I was trash. Missed this email. Woke up late. Bro, guess what? The check was the same. The check was the same. But like, bro, I'm an entrepreneurship and I'm missing an important meeting with a source. I'm sourcing from India or I'm sourcing from Indianapolis. I missed
Pakistan.
that. Now I'm beat. All my orders late for the next week. I got to shop at Food Line instead of Publix. Like, bro, it's just a lot, bro. It's a lot of stuff.
When we go to break.
Yeah, man. We can get into it after the break.
I used to take my family to the beach and I would bring my briefcase. Or at the beach, I'm saying I should be at the office. I should be at the office. Now my family's upset because I'm at the beach and I'm thinking office. Now when I'm at the office, I'm thinking what? I gotta get my family to the beach, the beach, the beach. Here's what I learned to do. At the beach, be at the beach. At the office, be at the office. When you work, work. When you play, play. Don't mix the two. When you work, work. When you play,
we running the break, man. We running the break real quick. You already know what it is, man. Let's get it.
Word from my sponsors.
You dig?
Take 10, everybody. Cut.
Gonna rock out. You already know what it is, man. We back at it. We back at it. Let's get it. What you say? Know what it is. King BRIL done it again. Niggas, I thought that was Sugar Hill Gang.
I'm about to start beatboxing, nigga.
You gotta be. You seen that Everybody Hates Chris meme?
Yeah, I didn't Nah, you gotta hold the headphone on the.
Dre run that out. Dre run that shit so much.
Hey, send me the link, bro. Send me the link.
Gotcha. Put that bitch on iTunes. Done it
Apple
again.
Music, nigga. iTunes. He throwing it back.
You already know what it is, man. We back. DJ STERL. Talk to me. Huh?
DJ STERL. No cap.
Ooh, that was right on.
Label way.
Yeah, you feel me? You feel me?
Label way.
Welcome back, man. Having some very interesting conversations with some very interesting people, man.
It's lit.
Corporate life, man.
Let's one thing before we start.
We have a proper introduction here.
We need a proper introduction. Chloe would like to redo her introduction, y'all. So we're gonna give you the floor to
Thank you.
reintroduce yourself other than saying hi, I'm Paul.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and give it to him.
My name's Chloe Kindig. I went to Penn State and I recently moved here and I'm now an accountant and model on the side.
Claps for that.
I didn't even know she was a model on the side. That's crazy.
When you introduce yourself to somebody who works with you, what do you just like? Hey, I'm Chloe from accounting. That's
because people think accountants don't have lives, so I try not to broadcast that.
They said they don't think you have lives. Is that what you said?
Yeah, like I don't have a life, but I like to think I do a lot.
Yeah,
in my social life.
I thought accountants only didn't have a life from March to like May.
Busy season.
The fiscal season.
January to April.
Oh shit.
And then August to October. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about having lives in corporate, right? So we were talking off air, Chloe and I, about working from home. Working from home might have been one of the best things to happen or worst things that happened to corporate. You know, I came in after my story was entrepreneur to corporate and still doing, both at the same time. But working from home, I only go in the office Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So, I mean, it's just great to be able to be at home and work. And then those 2 days I can get dressed up and go and put on a suit and go in and not have to worry about it for the rest of the week. What's y'all's battles with working from home? Battles or whatever, good and bad.
Yeah,
Upsides.
definitely. I feel like you could get more work done at home. In the office, if there's a bunch of people, like you talk all day, you go to lunch. Like for me personally, I eat my lunch at my desk like while I'm working because I just like to get the day over with. But if I go, I'd
be leaving.
But if I'm in the office, I'm definitely gonna like go to team lunches, meet people, talk to people, like the networking side. But I feel like you could also get lazy at home. Like I like to have a morning routine when I go into the office, but if I'm at home, I could hit snooze 10 times and roll out of bed and then I'm right there. So it's definitely like a downside and an upside. The flexibility too.
Honestly, I feel like I'm gonna sound like go
ahead, Jay.
Listen, bro, I watching. I'm not trying to be that guy, but like honestly, I feel like humans were meant to interact with each other more often than we do. Now that a lot of us work from home, like you could literally be in your home for 4 days straight and never see another human being. Get all your work done, make your dinner. But I don't work from home if you got an at-home gym. I'm pro work from home. Like I feel like that should be integrated into every single organization, every single company. Like now that we have the ability to do it and we've proven that we can, let's keep it a thing. But to be honest, like bro, there's times where I just feel like I don't know if it's super healthy for the human like race to spend that much time at isolated home. In a home. Like you can, bro, there's times I'll go a month and I never work with anybody in person. And then there's times where I'm in a month and, I travel a bit for work. But like, bro, I feel like personally it's not healthy. That's why like I would never want a home gym. Cause I'm like, I like to be at the gym. I like to see people, talk to people, say I like the community aspect.
That's true.
Now, granted, there's a lot of things that like, especially people of color, that we deal with at work that like isn't necessarily beneficial to us from a mental health standpoint. I'm very much so aware of that. Like whether that's
expound on that
microaggressions or like having to put on like a face or
code
facade.
Switching, we got that on there.
Yeah, code switching. Like those are things that like you definitely have to deal with, and they're part of like working from like an actual office and being a part of a company and going in person. True. But also from that, you know what I miss? I miss my black coworkers. Like we used to cut up, right? Like I do. Like sometimes you do miss that aspect of like being able to hang out with people. We talk about common problems that we have, things of that nature. Like that community aspect. I feel like you don't get that when you're at a work from home the majority of the time place. But yeah, I don't know, man.
When you guys were when COVID first started, and you guys, I don't know if you guys just got into your roles now. Did you guys miss the office?
See. For me, I never had that because I started working after COVID. Like I was in college when COVID happened. Okay. So that's why I was going to say it would be really weird for me if I was obligated to go in 24/7 because now I'm so used to at least having, like he said, half the week at home, half the week in the office that it would be weird to have to wake up 5 days a week and like be present somewhere, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I missed it it made certain things in my life easier. Like so, like I'm gonna be honest, working from home sometimes, like, STERL, I need a nap, bro. hey, when I need a nap and I'm at home, bed right
take
here.
That nap.
I take that. It's right there.
Nap
but like in the office, like I'm not gonna lie, like sometimes it did like force me to like push through things and like whether like let's say you new at a job, right? We need to run through some things. We need to learn this new process. A lot of let's get on the whiteboard. Let's figure it out. But like at home, it made a lot of like processes or learning or onboarding or whatever it may be. It made a lot of things a lot more difficult to do.
I would say that because those days that I do go in, it's a lot more work packed into 2 days that could be stretched out over a week. Like we'll get in and be like, we're talking about it through email and like, let's just go over it Tuesday when you come in. And Tuesday turns into like, let's finish it up on Wednesday. Yeah. Now I can see if we were doing it and we're stretching out throughout a whole week, it would probably be this piece, but like Tuesdays and Wednesdays is jam packed. You know what I'm saying? Some weeks of like stuff we're doing, and I'm in sales, so it's a little bit different. Yeah. But I mean, from accounting for sure, but just a lot of the stuff we go through, and then like I started last August. So there's still some like new things that are coming in. Like we need to, they need to be there. Your supervisor needs to be there to like get you into the system we're working with or something. Like it's just a bunch of stuff that is usually done throughout the week that's jammed into 2 days, and it's hard to do virtual. Or not hard, but it just makes it a little bit more lengthy, the process, when it should be just something quick.
Yeah, the way this conversation is going, y'all gonna end up back in the office 100% of the time.
we about to get our laptops out now.
Trey, we saw you on the podcast support, but hey, let's go ahead and get you back in. Get you back in.
We glad you feel this way. Come on, man.
5 days a week,
laptop per your last podcast. You talking about email etiquette per your last podcast.
We like
We saw that
4 days a
you
week.
didn't mind coming in 5 days. So.
Matter of fact, can you lead the initiative to get
Bring your other.
Hey, just send the link. Send the link.
Hey,
Oh my god!
everybody
bro.
just come back in, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely there's advantages to working from home. You talked about keeping the apps on your phone. Like if you need to run and I want to go to grab lunch real quick,
Right.
I can respond to things on Outlook or Teams. I'm at I'm at my crib. I got
What do
the apps
y'all
on my
use?
phone.
Teams.
Outlook and Teams. Yeah.
Outlook and Teams. Yep. Big Teams guy. Big Teams guy.
I felt official when I sent my first email update or scheduling update on Google Calendar. I probably sent it 2022. I was like, I'm official.
Bro, that's like
official.
every day when I go to bed, like I look at my calendar for the next day and just seeing like what's on their appointments and like, God damn. And then I go to sleep and
You kind of got
You know what
to
I'm
though. You got to know what type of sleep you need. Like
Yeah.
if it's like,
Yeah,
hey,
facts.
I don't got to meet until 2. We up.
Right,
watching
right.
Succession, Power. Hey, whatever.
I can spend a little time.
I can spend
You
a
know
little
what I'm saying?
time, and it's like I got an 8 a.m. with my boss. Like, let me
go ahead and call it now.
Let me brush the teeth and get into bed.
That's facts.
Yeah.
Software is different. Do y'all ever use Asana? Y'all know what that is?
Nah, what's that?
Pink, man, trying to integrate Asana into our workflows was treacherous, bro.
What is it?
What is it?
It's a communication base, so of course it coincides with like Google calendars or like an Apple calendar, and you can kind of see what your team is doing. So let's say if I got 3 employees and me, they can all see what their duties of today is, what their weekly expectations are, and it's just input and outputs. I can see when you check it off and do it, and just that's why I have to grow as an entrepreneur and a manager because I don't even like using that shit. I'm telling everybody else, make sure you check in, do this. And I'm texting people what the fuck they're supposed to be doing. And I'm like, yo, I gotta shake this shit. I gotta become the corporate.
It sounds like Slack a little bit, right?
Slack, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Slack? Like YSL?
Yeah.
No, Slack. Slack.
T-Love Slack. He talks about that shit every day. And I'm just like, yo. So I didn't get Asana.
Yeah.
I got an interesting point now. So Chloe, being a woman in corporate, that's why we had that. We got to have a woman's point of view in a lot of these topics. You're in a male-dominated. I guess the corporate workforce came from men originally, and like women are still fighting those battles to be seen as equal sometimes. Or I mean, my boss is a woman, but there are some times where I could assume that being a woman in corporate could be a good and a bad thing. Talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's hear about it.
So far, I haven't experienced much with it, but I would say that I definitely work. Actually, my team is more woman dominated, but in the overall company, I know there's more men, but I would like to think that like they so far hear us equally, but I would like to keep overpowering it that like more women. My actual boss just got like partner of our company, so she's moving up. So like to see that gives me hope that like I know it can be done. It's not like all men are partners of my company, if that makes sense. So that's definitely inspiring, but it's definitely like it's just how you talk to people and like you get their perspective. And I feel like working, I don't know if I have a good outlook on this because I work with a lot of women, so that's helpful to me that it's not like I went in and have a male dominated team and just like feel overpowered, but everyone's listens to your voice, so I would just voice that if I felt some type of way about it, and I feel like they would be really responsive of it so far.
That's good, then.
Yeah.
So you don't have any horror stories?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I want to take that
Not
step.
yet.
I want to take that a step further. So, women in corporate, right? Do you think there's a such thing? Of course, not in your prestigious corporation. Lowe's Food. You know what I'm saying? But is there such thing for women in corporate as a pretty privilege or pretty prejudice? Does that ever play a part where you don't think so? Yeah, no,
I wouldn't
maybe.
say so because honestly, if I don't go in the office, I mean, half the time people don't even have pictures on their name. So like, I know you're a female from like how I talk to you and like get on the phone and what your name is. But other than that, like I could never see the person that I work with. So maybe that's actually a question for him since he's the male and works with females, but like not so far. For
Drake would tell us. Pretty privilege, pretty privilege. What is it?
Prejudice.
Pretty.
Privilege and prejudice.
Pretty. I don't know how I came up with it.
You just said it perfect too.
Pretty prejudice. Pretty privilege.
Yeah. I mean, I think, man, like I feel like the company I work at is pretty good in terms of moving people up based off of merit or like the work that they've done, but I definitely feel like pretty privilege is a thing just in life. Period.
I was about to say, yeah.
Right. Like I go off this, right? People want to work and promote and have like partnerships with people that 3 things, right? Somebody they know, somebody they like, somebody they trust, right?
No like trust.
I'm gonna trust you based off the work that you do.
Right.
I'm gonna know you based off of how many interactions we've had, you know, what I know about your past, what I know what your ambitions are. But I like you, that's usually based off me. Like, do I like
personality,
relationships,
looks,
personality, how well we vibe? And I think just naturally,
how you look?
most of the corporate, you know, corporations are dominated by male when it comes to leadership, right? And in a leadership position, you know, that's just facts. There are more men CEOs in Fortune 500 companies, senior managers, managing directors. It's still male dominated, not as bad as it was once upon a time.
Right.
And a lot of times they like someone that's a little bit prettier than they do someone that's not. So, I mean, I'm not a woman, so I can't speak from a woman's perspective. But at the same time, I definitely have seen in certain ways, we're like, yeah, I'll take, like, let's go grab lunch with, you know, pretty one.
The networking.
The networking, the whatever. And I mean, some women use it to their advantage.
That's what I was going to say.
Can't be mad at
and
it.
I might say, Chloe, you maybe just shoot on a limb. Maybe you haven't, like, I think they say it's invisible to people who have it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the pretty privilege you may be receiving, you may not even notice, perhaps.
Because you don't know the alternate.
Right, because you've never seen the other side.
The alternate, you know what I'm saying?
So, you know what I'm saying? Your truth is just like what you've gone through and what you've seen. But, you know, as long as they keep...
women go through, man, like a lot from a corporate standpoint. Like, even like, I feel like...
Just getting in.
Just getting in. Two, as I've gotten a lot older, only 4.5, 5 years in at this point, but like just seeing how like taking time away from your job can negatively affect like your promotion or things of that nature. And I'm like, dang, like if I was somebody that's trying to get promoted this year and I pop up pregnant, I'm like, dang, like I'm not getting promoted this year, right? Like, so like as I've started to grow up, I've started to understand like the woes of womanhood and like things of like how like child rearing or motherhood or things of that nature can sometimes take away, or like, I don't know if I want to ask her to stay late. I know she's got 2 kids, right? But the guy that's got 2 kids, you know, his wife's there or what, they got a nanny, whatever. I'm okay. So like as I've started to grow up, I've definitely started to realize certain aspects of how women can get treated differently in a negative way. So I mean, I'm all for it. If you're pretty, use it, because y'all have enough challenges to go through, to be honest. Right. Just being a woman in a male-dominated space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have an applause for that. I fuck with it.
I appreciate that.
This is a pro-woman podcast. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
We shout out the women, man, that's doing the hard-working jobs. You know what I'm saying? These corporate... What you call it, Lowe's Food? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Lowe's Food, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
What else we? Yeah, go ahead.
We kind of leaned into it. We talked about things like Draper talked about things like pregnancy while being trying to get a promotion. All these social life things that kind of bleed into work. A lot of work bleeding into social life.
Boy,
so
good.
dating, man.
Let 'em cook.
Dating, man. There's a plethora. You look on Twitter, you look on Instagram. There's a plethora of people who really feel like there's no space, or they talk as if there's no space in their life for dating someone who's essentially a 9 to 5 or 8 to 6er, whatever you might call it. And they talk about things like, oh, they're not as flexible, or they're not at this, that, and the third. And I a lot of times think it's baloney. They talk as if these people don't make money. We know that not to be the case. There's some when you say 9 to 5er that these people just work at, you know, that they bag groceries at Lowe's Food. Not to say that there's nothing wrong with that, but that's the assumption a lot of times in people's heads. Yeah. As opposed to they very well might be, their network might have some of the most powerful people in their respective industries in it.
For sure.
And there's not a lot of light shone on that. So if you guys could just speak to that, how you guys might have reacted to it. Maybe a woman in corporate who's very successful talking to men, a guy, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just how people, you know, give us your spiel.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of like, y'all know, I'm sure y'all all know LLC Twitter.
Yeah, LLC Twitter.
I feel like that's got to be like LLC Twitter is like mindset, because I can't talk to somebody that got to be at work every day. Like, bro, if you
Wait, what's LLC Twitter for the people?
LLC Twitter is the people that I feel like they harmonize, they memorialize, they make it seem as if like you have to be an entrepreneur. It's written in stone that everybody
you wake up, you get an LLC.
You get an LLC, right? You invest that in Twitter. You buy Twitter.
Go get funding from this. You'll get 50,000 million.
Right. You set up a meeting with Barack. You buy 10 homes. Barack rents them, and then you own Petro. But I'd be like, bro, like
They don't work like that all the time.
Right, bro. Like they make entrepreneurship seem like it's the only path for anybody that wants to be successful. And a lot of people are not meant to be entrepreneur. If everybody's an entrepreneur, who's gonna be the worker? Right. Like I'm not mad at like entrepreneurship. I just know that it's not for everybody. Just like corporate is not for everybody. So for the people that are like, I can't date somebody that's a 9-to-5er, I think they have like this, beautified view of what entrepreneurship looks like. And I'm talking to 2 entrepreneurs right now. Y'all know more than anybody. Entrepreneurship takes time. It takes effort. It takes hard work. It takes sacrifice. Just like doing anything on a 9-to-5 does, right? So if you're an entrepreneur and you date somebody that's a 9-to-5er, right? You want to go on a vacation in a week to Bali, right? Great. What do you have to do? You got to work your ass off to make sure your business can sustain without you for a week. That 9-to-5er's got to do the exact same thing. They got to put in PTO, get it approved, and then also make sure that their job is good while they're away. Like it's the same
thing
type of principles.
Spectrums, like yin and yang.
It's yin and yang, right? Like it's the same thing. So like, I mean, I can understand like somebody that's an entrepreneur wanting to date another entrepreneur because like we want to scale these businesses together. But like to be like, I can't date a 9-to-5. I mean, if you want to take out 95% of the population as a people you can't date,
have at it.
Maybe even more. Maybe like 98% of the people. Like I don't know the percentages of people that are entrepreneurs that are not. But like, if that's your prerogative, that's your prerogative. I just don't think that is one that's probably based in fact or even maybe even reason. Yeah, to be honest.
I was going to say, like you said, you're probably canceling a lot of people out, but I feel like it's all kind of excuses too. Like, no matter what work you do.
Well, excuses too.
Break that down.
Yeah, please do. Dive into that.
Like, you have to think what you do in a work day, whether you do corporate or entrepreneurship. Like, you have so much to do, and you probably have a schedule of when you're doing it or what's most important. That text that you're going to send to someone takes 2 seconds if you really want to do it. If you just don't want to do it, then you're not going to do it. But it's like who you're dating doesn't really factor into it. I just feel like that's your perspective and you're not meeting a bunch of people probably because of that. Because if you're going to make time for someone, you will.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you could have corporate people like, I don't want to date an entrepreneur, man. I need somebody with healthcare, PTO. Like, you don't hear that argument.
Entrepreneurs do not be having, insurance, bro, healthcare, fucking dental.
That when I was up here fixing the fan, he said, "If you fall, man, you got benefits." I always rely on that. I said, "Yeah, true. I got good healthcare."
Yeah, man. Like I had a friend of mine. Like he was working a job. It was one that didn't come with healthcare, and he was like, "Bro, like so he recently had a son. Like, bro, I have to get a job with healthcare." And I was like, "Why?" He was like, "Bro, because like he was basically breaking down how much it was going to cost for him to pay for his own healthcare." And his son's healthcare without like having a company that provided healthcare.
Absolutely.
And it was like, bro, damn near almost $1,000 a month. Like I think it was like $700 or something like that. And he was like, bro, I need a job with healthcare. Like I can't pay this. And I'm like, you know what? Makes sense. Like I'm not pro corporate or pro entrepreneurship, but like there's pros and cons to both. Like you kind of got to pick your battles.
That's true.
And that's why I have a problem with it. I kind of sit with both of you guys on it, man. A lot of these people who say these things, they're part of that camp who falls in love with that word passive income and those key terms that kind of people just tag on to entrepreneurship. Yeah. They've never usually built a real company. They don't really build. They don't understand the work that goes into it. They don't understand how synonymous corporate and entrepreneurship can be, how it can become. There's middle management, there's higher level management, there's ground level employees, there's SOPs, but because we don't associate entrepreneurship with that type of structure. People just assume you can wake up. They got this whole idea of being a boss, so I can wake up, do what I want. I can do it, and those people don't have the real responsibilities of a real boss. You don't have anybody who you have to do things. You don't have to send information to. They don't have the type of structure. They're not living the entrepreneurship life. They just see the shit they get on Twitter because generally there's the people who are selling the shit and actually doing it. They're selling that life story. They're not telling the full story. They got a course to sell. I'm gonna sell this to you. You're gonna buy it.
Speaking of, course dropping on Monday, man, from vision to fashion. If you want a full clothing brand guide to building and scaling a clothing brand, I didn't mean to plug that in there, but
this is actually a legitimate course that actually has factual and logical information.
And that's the thing. Like I've lived both lives. Not because I've lived from going from the entrepreneur, like started my business in college, and then figuring out like as life went on, like entrepreneurship was breaking me even. I'm good, but like I want to do some other things. So why not do both? So I used my major, mass communications, to get into corporate, into sales, and now I'm doing both. Now that balancing act is something I'm still figuring out because it's still new.
Yeah, bro. What's that
So,
like? Like,
bro,
I don't know too many people that are doing that.
Man, it's tough, and somebody told me, well, it's this phrase like you can't put 100% into everything. So I've noticed, like even like my gym routine, like you got so many things. You want to go to the gym, you got to run a business, you got to go to work, you got to have a relationship, all those things, bro. It's hard to give every single one of those 100. So then it's about prioritizing what makes sense. So then it's like, with my brand, it's at the point now where it can run itself to where I don't have to do so much. Sort of similar to BRIL, like we don't have to do so much because we've done a lot up until this point. But now, like I'm trying to reinvent, like with entrepreneurship, I'm finding out I got to reinvent. Like the same way I was selling clothes in 2017, 18, 19, I can't do that in 2023. The market has changed. The medium has changed as far as where I'm sending my information to and like how I'm doing it. So I'm having to figure out how to adapt with the times, still be relatable, still, establish relationships with like my manufacturers and packaging. Like I'm outsourcing a lot of work now rather than me being, y'all been to my crib before, I'm pressing shirts during the party, but like I'm doing the hard work. I still do some of that, but I can't do as much just because of work. So I'm like balancing it. So it's tough, but like I'm making it work and still, doing it. But if you want a course on, everything about how to do that, like how to make it happen, and you want to go from vision to fashion, make sure you buy my course, man. It's coming out very, so by the time you see this, it'll be out. So go ahead and buy that course, man. It's a good price, but I've got manufacturers and I got everything, like basically the stuff I wish I would have known before. And that's what brings me to a good segue with y'all. What do you wish you would have known, Chloe, going into corporate now versus like what you thought? What's some things you wish you would have known, or you would have realized to say you would have asked your younger self 10 years ago, 5 years ago? Like what's something you wish you would have known that you could tell someone who asked y'all how y'all got to where y'all are?
Probably the work-life balance, which I think is like the main topic of like how to manage it. And I feel like that's a big thing from going from college to working for the rest of your life. People don't talk about that transition and like how to manage that schedule. And I'm sure a lot of people struggle with it. It's just not talked about, which I think it should be more talked about, and more just like how to go about your everyday life. Like you made a good point. You can't put 100% into everything. Like you probably want to work out every day, meal prep, like work 2 jobs. Like you're saying, like it's not all feasible in a day. I can write it all down. Like I'm going to do it and be this inspirational person to everyone. But realistically, it just doesn't all happen. Like you run out of time. So I feel like my younger self, I would like learn how to manage that better, and you just learn as you go and try to like figure out what I want to do quicker, like for the rest of my life. So it's kind of like best of both worlds, but you also got to figure that out with time and like as you go. We'll
stick on you for a second. So you're in a new phase now where you're doing some modeling on the side. You're doing some work for a company. I'll let you shout them out. But how have you balanced like coming into a field that you never were in before, and balancing your work life that you get the majority of your money from, like living a day-to-day type of thing, balancing what you like to do versus what you sort of have to do?
For sure. First, the brand is Aim Couture. We're in Carolina Place Mall.
Shout them out. Black-owned business.
Yep.
Turned up, man. That's
definitely
what's up.
Going from work, that's what we were talking about, our schedules, how the working from home is flexible. Like, I know the day I have photo shoots, I'm probably going to work like a little less to go do that, and then the next day I'll put in like 10 hours or a little more to like still have everything balanced out. But it's like work hard, play hard. Like that is like my fun job, and then my regular job, like you got to do that to pay the bills. So it's kind of like working it all around that you're gonna get it all done. It's just some days are longer than others, so you can get all of that done, if that makes sense, like in the week span. And definitely planning it all out. Like I just got to be prepared that some days are going to be 10, 12 hours. So then the next day I can have a little shorter of a day and go do something that I enjoy and I want to put my time and effort into, because I want that to take off as well. If that makes sense.
That's what's up.
I feel like for me,
what you got,
like
Drake?
What I would have known beforehand, which I figured it out pretty early on. I just feel like, somebody told me this in college, I probably would have been more adamant about knowing about it, is the importance of mentorship is huge. And I mean, like that spans heavy into corporate, but even outside of corporate in life, right? There's so many people that look like you, think like you, or from the same place that you're from, that have gone through the exact same things that you've gone through and can help you navigate, help you not make the same mistakes that they made. Like that is super, super, super important. And like, I feel like if you got a great company, they can, set you up with, certain mentors, but after a while you got to find your own, because every mentor that a company just throws in your face, here's your whatever, here's your big brother, here's your peer advisor, here's your whatever it may be. It's not gonna be the perfect person for you, but like finding a good mentor is key because they can literally just imagine a running back going through a hole and they got an offensive tackle just pushing down linebacker, safety, and just leading them to the end zone. Like you having somebody that's gone through the exact same thing that you've gone through before can shield you from so many problems and issues. And that's important for people. I feel like in so many areas of life, whether you want to buy a house and you got somebody that's gone through the process 2 years ago or 20 years ago, their first one, and they're on their 15th house by now, right? Like just having that, or you got a model that started in Charlotte, moved to New York, came back down to Charlotte, been to Cali. Like you talking to them and understanding them, how they navigated their success and their story, like that is super key.
Not reinventing the wheel.
There's no need because you probably know somebody or can be connected with somebody that's done exactly what you're doing and probably done it better than you and can help you.
So mentorship in corporate, that's something I want to kind of stick on because something that I hear people who work in corporate talk about all too well is the competition. And I've heard people in corporate say things like the big brother or mentor or manager might teach them a process or might teach them a system and they'll do it wrong intentionally because they know that they don't want somebody to come and take their job. You know, you get to pay this lower tier person who's a little bit younger less money to do that job. So you kind of want the person under you to not do as well or not learn certain things. So have you guys ever seen or experienced a situation where that competition does kind of bleed its way through and affect the leadership that people provide or mentorship that people provide each other?
I'll let you go.
Okay. I was going to touch on his point that I feel like it's all about the people you know, because especially at a big corporate company, you're a really small fish in a big pond, and that's how it's going to be for a really long time. So it's like, how are you going to set yourself apart from the person sitting next to you that started at the same time as you? And there's also 100,000 other people out there that started
across the country.
Yeah, across the country, states, everywhere. So it's like, how are you going to set yourself apart from them? And I feel like the big thing is your mentor. Like my counselor broke it down to me like, we're all playing a game. So it's like, who's going to play that game better? And you kind of, it's really about the people you know. And I feel like you get the gist of like, if people are with you or they're just trying to be better than you. So I really lean on my team once I know I can trust them and like take their advice. Cause then there's other people that like, they're just head down in the books. They're working. That's what they like to do. Like they don't care about your life outside of work. And I feel like that sets people apart. Like if I go to work every day, it's exhausting. I want to make sure the people I'm working with know what I'm going through and can relate to that, and we're not just like staring at a computer all day. Like you got to know the people you work with, and that's how you set yourself apart from other people is by like having that closer relationship. And then other people just, you can tell when they don't want you to win, like you mentioned.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Talk to it, Drake.
I would definitely say I've seen and I've seen it, I've felt it. Everybody that's like put into your life from a work standpoint does not have your best interest at heart.
Yeah.
Everyone that's set up as your like quote unquote mentor at work or even just somebody that's your boss, they're not interested necessarily in, making you the best worker that you can be or having you, have the most success at work that you can have or developing you into the best like corporate or entrepreneur or whatever person it may be. So like you definitely, I'm gonna go back to know, like, trust.
No, like, trust.
When I'm looking for a mentor,
trust.
do I know them? How well do I know them? How well do I like them? And most importantly, like, how well do I trust them with like career advice, with mentorship, right? Like, think about those three things and you'll find a great mentor.
Do we have a sob story where you might not have been driven in the right place by a particular person at Lowe's, of course, at Lowe's, like,
and it could be like not specifically work, like a project at work, or a assignment or a deadline, or like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, for sure. Go ahead.
Definitely, like, that's the other thing about a corporate life and the flexibility, yes, but you don't know other people's schedules. So, like, I could be getting on at 7 because I have to get off by 5 for my other responsibility. Other people could be getting on at 9 and logging off at 5, 6, 7, like, whatever their schedule is. But it's hard because, like, you can have someone throw something at you when you're about to log off, and it's just, like, then you got to communicate to them if it's important and they're higher up than you. You sometimes can't say no, or like you sometimes can, but it's like, that's like looking out for people's best interest when they're that high up and don't know your schedule exactly because you're so much lower than them. It's how it is. They just throw stuff at you. So you got to manage it all and like make sure they don't know if I've already worked during busy season 12 hours, but they still need something out by midnight. Like, you got to force yourself to stay on, buckle down, and do that. And that gets draining sometimes. But that's how it goes. And that's why it comes back to communication of trying to, like, voice to people when, like, you just can't go anymore that day. Like, you can pick up the next day, but you need your sleep. Because, like,
a good stopping point.
Yeah, and some people don't, and they work. I was never a night owl in college, so I know how I work. I need to be done by 11. I need my sleep. Other people, they'll be on to like 4 a.m., and I'm just like, I personally can't do that. So you just got to communicate and know your boundaries.
You weren't a night owl in college?
No.
Jesus.
I like my sleep.
Oh, wow.
I sleep a lot.
You don't believe?
No, it's not that I don't believe it. Jesus Christ, and that's painful. That was a painful college. I know you were up at 2 a.m., but that's the pain that you might have been experiencing to make it out.
Graduated late at 25, and they found work immediately. I know people who never went to university, but found what they love at 18. I know people who found a job straight out of college, making decent money, but hate what they do. I know people who have children, but are single. And I know people who are married, but have had to wait 8 to 10 years to have children. I know people in relationships who love someone else. I know people who love each other, but aren't together. So my point is, everything in life happens according to our time, our clock. You may look at some of your friends and think that they're ahead of you, or maybe some of them you feel are behind. But everything happens at their own pace. They have their own time and clock, and so do you. Be patient.
You already know what he said. Let's get it. Sugar Hill Gang. Shout out the girl in the back. Shout out my corporate workers.
Yes, sir.
Shout out everybody that's doing the 9 to 5 thing.
It's your boy STERL. We back.
You already know that we back.
Welcome back live after 5.
You already know what it is. Oh man, we got some stories to talk about live after 5.
The real epicenter.
Hey,
Not the British way.
not the British way. Hey, me and Drake used to fuck goddamn live to 5 up, dog. We used to go in there
we lost our
Thursday.
minds.
Captain Morgan strong.
Oh God.
We
I'm gonna
pregame
have to
have
cut the fuck out of that shit.
a bottle
what
of
you just
Captain
said.
Morgan's.
I'm gonna have to cut the hell out of what you just said.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to
pause that
chop
shit.
that up. Yeah,
Hey,
I'm like,
pause, whoa.
that was a 2-second pause. Good God.
I was thinking about live at the 5.
2 minutes and 40 seconds. I gotta get down.
Back in the day.
Hey, she was thinking it too. Hey, I was like, Sterl, hurry up, nigga.
You cannot give me any advice.
Back in the day, we used to go crazy at live after 5, bro. That's all I'm saying. We used to go crazy at live after 5. Me, him, KJ, the whole gang, bro. And I had a homeboy that used to work security, bro. So we just go on the bottom floor. We ain't had to pay them. We go straight in, bro. New Year's. I mean, we was out there. We was having a hell of a time at live after 5. Shout out to Epicenter, man. Shout out to. I think that's before you came to Charlotte. Downtown is a spot called the Epicenter.
R.I.P. the Epicenter.
Fucking 10 clubs in there. I mean, it was just a place.
Bowling alley, food spot.
The bowling alley food, the late night food, everything, bro. So, shout out to Epicenter, man. But nonetheless, we back on our last time in of this episode. You know what I'm saying? And we've had a very in-depth conversation about corporate life, balancing that with social life, talking about things you would have changed in your past with corporate, things you would, do now in corporate. Just a whole episode devoted to our corporate workers out there, people that's really, even if you're not corporate, you're working a 9 to 5, some of these, things we're talking about are common similarities that happen in the job force, job field, regardless. So, it's been a good episod, man.
Absolutely.
It's been good.
To talk to our corporate people, man. I got dreams of going corporate one day. Not for long.
Yeah,
It's
tell
like 30
them
days. Man, listen, I have
Tell your master plan.
me and my dog T, man. One day, we're just gonna go get 3-piece suits, the plaid, tailored suits, right?
And that's the crazy. People don't even wear them no more, bro.
Crisp, but it's part of the dream. I need some
Part of the
Cole
dream.
Hines hard bottoms, right?
Hard bottoms?
Right. Then we got to get this crisp white button down, right? Yeah. Cuff links, you know what I mean?
Briefcase.
Briefcase, leather briefcase. And we want to have a boardroom meeting. It's got to be this, 12-foot long. No, we 18-foot long. Brown.
2-second pause.
Pause.
Hey, yo.
5 by 8. What?
It is the 5 by 18 wooden table, like mahogany brown table. Mm-hmm. And what they have at the front? to have this meeting. I need 12 other people to just in suits to random just sit down, just fill spots,
and just go up there. You need the little board.
Talk about some shit. Somebody have a meeting. Somebody yell at us for not
really,
doing
bro.
numbers.
Corporate, it be meetings about meetings, bro. That's all it be. It be meetings about the meeting you about to have.
What do we want to meet about next week? Let's think about it.
It's like Wale the album about nothing. The meeting about the meeting.
Oh, I do got a good clip. Once y'all go ahead and get in, I'm gonna find this clip. This guy was talking about corporate lingo.
Corporate lingo?
Yeah, man. It's funny, like you get incorporating like the emails and stuff we were talking about earlier. Like you get into it and it's like it's a lingo and a set parameter about how you have to talk and how you like send messages and like just the enamor in there, bro. It's
my last email.
That type of stuff.
That type of stuff. Give us some more. Give us some more. Per my last email.
Let's circle back on this.
Let's circle back
on this. Okay.
It was
Let's take this offline.
Oh, say it again.
Please see below.
Please see below. Okay.
Let's take this offline. We don't want to boil the ocean, you know.
Boil the ocean.
Right.
Oh shit. Okay. We don't want to boil the ocean.
We're gonna, man. On my day, I just been trampolining, bro, from meeting to meeting. You know,
trampolining. Is it like look down upon like snitching low key? Like if you BCC somebody in the email and they, blindly like, hey, I'm gonna protect my supervisor and this email.
Honestly, I feel like most people don't BCC.
They want you to see who else is gonna see it.
Yeah, they want you. They kind of want you to see who. Like if you messing up, like I ain't heard from BRIL in a week, but I've been emailing him 3 times. Let me CC his boss so he knows that hey, I mean business, BRIL.
Listen to this.
Send me those reports. And tomorrow I'll let you know. Guys, I am so sorry that I'm late to the call. I have just been trampoline. Really spice things up.
Here we go.
During your 9 to 5, I could make 14 parts of this, but here we go. You know what, Chastity? I didn't even think about that as an option. Now that you say it, let me marinate on that tonight, and tomorrow I'll let you know. Guys, I am so sorry that I'm late to the call. I have just been trampolining from meeting to meeting today. I'm bouncing here, I'm bouncing there. I'm just doing a flip into the next one. It's like insane. So if there are no questions on what we just walked through, I'm going to pass the baton to Tori to take us through the next part. So, Tori, take it away. I don't know who's responsible for watering the crops or lack thereof, because the numbers are not really growing as they should be. Here's some more creative corporate lingo to really spice things.
He has these like shout out Stefan Rigatoni. He has these corporate videos of like corporate lingo, man. It's hilarious, the stuff that he comes up with. That's literally how they talking. And I'm just being there like, yo, this is just like a movie, bro. This is just TikTok,
bro. It's very real.
That's very real. The corporate lingo, man.
So yeah, whose job can I pull up? At what department at Lowe's do I need to pull up to in my 3-piece suit? To just this is what BRIL from accounting.
Hey,
he just
3-piece suit on the job would be insane.
Insane nowadays. People, bro, I be dressed up in mine. People don't even really dress up like that. Like it's not even a thing. Yeah, people rarely dress up.
Into the office, I want to dress up. I want to feel like that business.
It's just the look.
In jeans,
bro.
I'm like.
It's crazy.
I'm gonna just take my 3-piece suit and my briefcase and I'm gonna just walk uptown, just like
Hey, you can do that. You can do that. Put some AirPods in.
Looking at my watch.
Like Draper, get an Apple Watch.
Hey, nah. Honestly, I usually don't even wear this to work. It's usually like a Movado or something like that.
Hey, you dropping big names.
Hey, listen, I be at the Movado company store.
But let's go ahead and run this dog eat dog.
Okay,
gotcha.
Like we said, it's a tournament style, this or that. But this one is not going to compare the next option to the next one. It's going to be 2 scenarios. Then we'll go to the next 2 scenarios.
Traditional this or that. Traditional this.
So this one, in-person meeting or virtual meeting?
Virtual.
I'm probably going in person.
Yo, Draper's gonna get everybody back.
Everybody gonna leave that initiative of bringing everybody back to the office.
I don't want everybody back in the office, but I think some meetings can be handled much better in person, especially if it's like a meeting that turns into something else. Like it could be a meeting that turns into a workshop, or a meeting where it's like, we didn't really figure this out. Let's like, even though the meeting is technically done after 30 minutes, let's linger for like 5-10 because we didn't figure this out.
Right.
From a productivity standpoint, I'm gonna go meeting in person. From a, I'm about to go like a nap.
Right. Virtual.
Virtual.
But now that everyone's home, to rally everyone to get it in person, it's almost worth.
They got Draper
too much of a hassle.
They got Draper to lead the initiative.
They got Draper to lead that initiative.
Got me, bro. They got
to the office. All right, we got entry level job or middle management job. Like, did you like it better when you were just coming in your job, or would you know what I'm saying, that middle phase of where you at?
Try to go to Pens.
I'm still kind of there, but I had an internship and now I guess staff.
So you sort of have moved up.
Internship, I at least got paid for overtime, so I would say that.
Shout out overtime.
From where I sit and just my dealing. You can go ahead and
I would just say depends because I saw a quote that was, it was like when you have to lead people, right? It's always harder because at the end of the day, you're at the bottom. There's nobody else that's really truly dependent upon your success. If I'm middle management and my intern or my staff or my analyst or my associate messes up, I can fix it. I'm good. With me at quote unquote middle management or whatever it may be, if you're middle management, you've got a whole team of people that are looking for you to lead them, correct their mistakes. Like I think you may do a little bit less of the nitty gritty from a middle management standpoint. But it's a little bit more stressful because more things are dependent upon your success than if there's not as many people to make up for your mistakes.
Got you.
I'd take that batter. I was just joking, but I would take middle management probably because I like to have a bigger voice. But he made a very good point. Like you don't have to, I guess, have as much knowledge yet when you're like staff entry level. You're just the workhorse. You're doing everything. Right. Whereas the next level, you're not doing as much work. You're like reviewing more, so it goes quicker as long as you understand it.
Yo, quick, my bad. I want to add
go
that.
ahead.
Yo, the middle management is probably, if anything, because when I did have a job before,
What was your
when I
last
first
job,
graduated, I was a trainer, assistant director, of strength and conditioning. So you have to manage other coaches, you have to manage clients, but then you're not necessarily the top dog, so you're still taking information down. And I always compare middle management to being the oldest child. Right, because you don't have any of the privileges or the power or freedom as those who are higher than you. You can't take direction in that type of way, but you also don't have the privileges and the freedom of being absent-minded sometimes and lack thereof responsibility. As someone who's entry level or the youngest child. So that's a tough spot. That's what I like to compare it to. That's why generally people love to be either at the bottom or closer to the top of the pyramid of management.
I would say so. Yeah.
So next we have lunch at your desk, like you talked about, or going out for lunch while you're on the clock.
With the 3-piece and the hard bottoms and the briefcase.
When you're in the office, like you just eating at the desk, just so you can keep working.
Is this at the office or at home?
if you're at the office.
If I'm at the office, I'm gonna choose to go out every time.
Okay.
It's just a break. Like you need a break. And then like I'm also very much so. I'm very pro
office.
Bye.
Get everybody in the office via
Get there now. 9 a.m.
Everybody clock in with me.
Hey, listen, we having cuts, recessions, so make sure you I'm pro not bringing your lunch to the office because I'm pro having some sort of control over your day. Like it's lunchtime, I'm gonna control what am I gonna eat, where am I gonna go. Like I always enjoyed like being able to just choose something and like what am I in the mood for? I'm in a salad, I'm a sandwich mood, yada yada. So I'm pro go out for lunch if you're in the office.
Chloe, what you got?
If I'm in the office and my team is there, I'll go out. But I always pack my lunch just in case no one's there. I'll just work through lunch. I'd rather get it done sooner and be able to go home and do other things than work.
True. That's a good point.
Next we got coming in early or leaving late.
Early. Get me in early. Life happens late.
Everybody in work. Everybody in work.
Damn it.
Everybody clock in.
These niggas in the office.
Everybody clock in.
No. But me personally, like, bro, I would much rather get in it, even if you.
Baby Purple Heart.
Oh God!
That's the bad thing about Bluetooth.
Oh,
my bad.
So I'm taking getting in at 7 a.m. and getting off at 3 or 4, as opposed to getting in at 9 or 10 and having to get off at 6. So much more life happens after 5 o'clock. Late. Between 5 and 10, that's when life happens, right?
Yeah.
Nothing is really happening besides old people going to the gym or really motivated people going to the gym before 8 a.m. Like that's it. So I'd rather work during that time period, get off, be able to enjoy some sunlight. Be able to enjoy some after work activities. I'm taking going in early over going in late.
I agree. I go in, especially in the office. I try to go earlier than I would even when I start at home, just to try to get out earlier, beat rush hour, and just get done earlier, like I said. So,
okay. Do you hate work and love your employees, or do you love work? Did I say that right?
No. Would you rather?
Would you rather a scenario where you hate your job and you love your employees, or you love your work and hate your employees? I hope I said that correctly.
You did.
I did? Okay.
I feel like, well, I'd rather love both, but that's not an option.
Of course, in a perfect world, but that's why I run my.
I would. I'd probably love the people and hate the work, which is kind of what I go through right now. Just because, like, it's definitely not my dream to do accounting, but I also love some of my team members, so that really makes it motivating to like get back on each day and keep doing it. It's not like I can't stand the people I talk to and hate the work, so it makes it worthwhile, because at one point work's always going to be work, so you want to enjoy the people you're working with to make it enjoyable.
I'm 100% on the same way, because like you work with great people, it can make the worst work in the world feels so much better.
Right. Because we all hate this shit.
Yeah, we gonna bond about how much we hate this shit. We gonna laugh about it. We gonna crack
take a drink
jokes
after this.
We gonna take a drink after this. But you could be doing your like what God made you to do, your number one job, what your purpose, your passion is. And if you work with people you can't stand, it is going to pull away from the work that you're doing. So even best case scenario with either one, working with people that you actually enjoy and like is definitely gonna add if you have a shitty job as opposed to the other way around. So I'm gonna always take the people over the work when it comes to how much of each I'm gonna enjoy.
Okay, we got 2 more: unlimited PTO or scheduled PTO. We sort of dived into it. Dre, maybe you can give a little spiel of what that means.
I'm 1000%
real quick.
going like a scheduled amount of PTO for the year, 100%. And a limited PTO always it sounds great. Right, it's a man. I can take as much time off as I want. Like, y'all not gonna see me for 2 months. You see if your job there when you get back. Recession come. Hey man, we
those 2 months you took off,
right? Like, just take a couple more. Definitely.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like every study has shown that like when companies move from a set standard amount of PTO into unlimited PTO, people take less time off. Right, that's just it's kind of a psychological thing. Like if you're
it's sort of like reverse psychology.
It's kind of reverse psychology. We'll give you as much as you want. Take it.
But you know,
would you? Should you? Right? Whereas like when you have
like integrity,
it's integrity. Like damn, should I like you fall victim to peer pressure. You've got a bunch of hard workers. You know, people that don't want to take any time off.
Right.
Yeah.
You feel bad taking time off. There's no like set amount where people are like making sure like, hey,
come back.
We want to make sure you take your time off. At Unlimited, there's nobody to say, bro, you haven't taken enough time off this year, or your days aren't going to roll over, or we've noticed you've been lacking because nobody's tracking it because it's unlimited. So I'm taking a set amount every single time over unlimited, although unlimited is kind of the new wave with companies. But think about it again, companies more often than not have their interest and not yours at heart.
True shit.
So if they know you're going to take less time off, why not move to unlimited PTO?
Yeah. I agree with that. I've never had scheduled. I'm only unlimited right now, but I already see that about like feeling guilty to take it, and then everyone else is still working, or like the other staff not taking as many as you, because like it sucks to say, but that's how they measure you. They print all your hours on a spreadsheet, how much time you took off, see like how much you were utilized, and like it does come into play. If you took 20 days off and someone else only took 10, like how are you gonna look? So I agree with that, scheduled for sure.
Yeah, sort of just reverse.
Looking at Sally like, listen, Sally, we're gonna take the end of the month off. You hear me? We're gonna take the month off.
They owe you 3 months. You haven't taken nothing. Like,
Right.
help me help you.
So last question on this: hourly pay or salary pay for both of y'all? Whoever want to jump at it first.
So I like benefits. I be twisting ankles, tearing groins. Like I be sick. Like, hey, I want to go to the doctor, man. Like,
Right.
I'm probably gonna take salary just because I prefer like the benefits that come with it. But overtime is amazing. So it's a tough toss up. But I would probably take salary because then I can also take time off and it not affect my pay.
True.
Yeah. That's how I probably feel too. It definitely sucks when you're working like 60-hour weeks and only getting paid for 40. But then I guess you got to remind yourself that it's more that comes with the job than just the paycheck too. So it's just something to keep in check, so you're not like, I wish I had an hourly job right now.
Facts.
Yeah.
And when you take 0, you getting paid for that 40.
True.
Hey, well, yeah.
That's also
Can't forget that.
Can't forget
that part. Right. Jesus Christ. Yo, guys, I just think about what Draper said. Draper was like, yo, I sucked these last 3 days. Right?
Trash.
But I still got paid.
Anything.
That
Still get paid.
That shit was hilarious.
Oh my god, bro.
Yeah, man.
I think that covered it, man. Is there anything else that you guys feel like we should talk about in terms of the corporate? Anything you guys want to say? A last little spiel.
Let's do it. Go ahead and plug your brand. Plug what's going on. This is your camera right here, so talk to your camera. Let them know what's going on.
Carolina Place Mall, a new boutique opened, Aim Couture, Black-owned business. Come check us out right outside of Belk's upper level.
You know what it is. What do y'all have? What do y'all specialize in? What are y'all selling?
Women's clothing. We're working on men's because people have gave us comments about that. But women's clothing, it gives like a Miami, Cali vibe. Just like unique clothes you're not going to get from like a regular online store or just like, I feel like
vacation
everywhere.
Clothes?
Yeah, for sure. But unique. Like I have a lot of pieces that I never seen online, like shopping on like Fashion Nova.
Where can they find it? Online. Where can they find it? On Instagram, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Instagram is _couture, and then online it's in my bio. Once you click on that page.
Okay. In my bio. You heard it. Draper, what we shouting out, man?
If you ever want to see more corporate Chloe, she's over in the accounting division.
Corporate Chloe.
Over at Lowe's.
I like that.
Over at Lowe's.
Corporate Chloe. What you got?
I'm gonna shout out people doing what's best for them and their family. Like, it's not. It shouldn't be a debate of corporate versus entrepreneurship in terms of one is better for the other. Do what is best for you and your family at that time in your life, and that is the best decision for you. So, shout out to all the entrepreneurs. Shout out to all the 9-to-5ers, man. It's been a pleasure being on the show.
Hey, man. Like we always say, before BRIL wraps it, man, it's been a pleasure having y'all. Y'all are now friends of the show. Anytime y'all want to come on and chat, kick it. If y'all just want to kick it, we're going to establish a live audience after. We were talking about that.
Yeah, bro, I need that.
Like, we've done it a couple times. People, like, we got the space now, so people can chill in here, just drink. If y'all want to come on a show and just kick it, if we got somebody on that interests you or something, just come vibe out with us, man. We don't have much paint getting lonely back there. We see you, though, bro. But nah, friends of the show, appreciate y'all coming. This was like a trampolining of scheduling, honestly. Trying to get, like, you was on board from the beginning. We had somebody come and fall off, and we just, like, not fall off, but, like, schedules just didn't permit, man. We just been trying to get all that. Yeah, and shout out Mac for sending out those emails, but appreciate y'all for actually coming in and rocking out with us, man. It's been fun.
Absolutely.
It's been fun.
Man, it's been a pleasure, man. We appreciate y'all.
Absolutely, man. Once again, just a regurgitated man. Friends of the show. Come back anytime, man. And if all hearts and minds are clear, man, it's been a good show, Stir. How you feeling, man? You good?
Good. Oh, Drake, tell them where they can find you at, bro.
Tell them
y'all can find me on the gram. I have no brand to present. just a regular nigga living in Charlotte, bro. Like, you can find me on IG, Draper_6. Hit my DMs, comment under my pics. Link in bio. There's no link in bio. There's no link in bio.
Except in his LinkedIn.
Well, LinkedIn. I put my LinkedIn in. Let's connect on LinkedIn. Draper Brown. Just hit my line.
How do people? It's about sidebar. How do people look at it when you have like 500 connections? Is that like prestige?
Everybody should have 500 connections or more.
Oh fuck!
I don't.
Drape is dropping gems.
I'm just dropping gems. Get your connections up to 500. If not, I'm looking at you like. Take the shades off. No. Yeah, just get them up to 500. Add your grandma, your auntie, people in the school, you be all right.
There it is, man.
Had to take the shades off for this one. 230.
Yeah, 230.
We're not following you. No connection. We got nothing in common.
We have nothing in common.
Oh, man. It's been a blessing, y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. YouTube, please subscribe. Audio listeners, please download the episode, man.
Yes, sir.
If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeart, all that and above, make sure you go check us out on YouTube. YouTubers, make sure you slide over to Apple Podcast, Spotify, and all that I just mentioned, man. Thank you guys for appreciating us. Thank you guys for watching us.
We thank you for appreciation too.
We thank you for appreciating us, appreciating y'all as we do. Yeah, that in the third. But yeah, man, it's been a great episode, man. Welcome back to. Am I supposed to say welcome back to?
Nah, appreciate y'all tuning in.
Appreciate y'all tuning in to the Epicenter podcast. I don't know why I'm having brain farts right now, but that's DAEPICENTRE, the British way. In case you didn't know, that's the UK way. You know what I'm saying? Big UK way. You know what I mean? And
let's get it.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. Peace, man. Yeah. Appreciate y'all, man.
You know what it is.
Take us out of here.
Let's go. DJ STERL. On the Wednesday still,